I've got some breaking news coming straight out of Bloemfontein. And trust me, it's not about the Free State's famous wind. No, though that could blow you away. This news is shaking things up in the name of gender. Yup, you heard me right. Husbands can now take their wives' last names, thanks to a landmark ruling by the Bloemfontein High Court. The court basically looked at the law and said, hold up, this whole men get all the surname glory thing is a bit one-sided. They realized it was unfair, and boom, the scales of equality got a little more balanced. But you might ask, how did we get here? Here is Prof. Wahida Amen from the University of Cape Town explaining to us.
It's interesting because there's obviously the perception of, well, you know, how is this going to work? We're still such a traditionalist country, and I can imagine just the sort of debate that you've heard around it. But many that I've heard even saying, well, you know, the man pays the lobola, the woman should take the surname and vice versa. So there's a sense that it's a very academic sort of conversation and it's simply not going to trickle down into the greater part of our society.
So I think we need to start with what was the reason for the law to begin with. And so here we're talking about the Births and Deaths Registration Act, Section 21, right? Which says that a woman, whether she's married or divorced or widowed, if she wants to change her surname, she can apply to the Department of Home Affairs to do so. She doesn't have to give any grounds. And usually it's an administrative process where she simply pays a fee, admin fee or application fee, and then she gets her surname changed back to her own, right? So here's the thing. We're living in a society that still reinforces patriarchy in terms of names. So when a woman is born, she takes her father's name. When she gets married civilly, and also then, of course, according to customary law, because those marriages have been recognized, then automatically her name is changed to that of her husband's. And so if she wants to take her maiden name, or rather her birth name, or she wants a hyphenated name, she goes through that administrative process. But the man doesn't have that option. His process is actually more onerous. He's got to apply to the Director General of Home Affairs and show that he has sufficient reasons for his surname to be changed. So in this case, there were two sets of parties. The one set was a husband and wife, where the husband wanted to take his wife's surname. The other set was the wife had decided to take a hyphenated surname, and the husband then also wanted to take that hyphenated surname. And in both instances, the Department of Home Affairs said, no, the law doesn't allow you to do so. They would have had to apply to the Director General and show sufficient reasons for that. And so that's why they challenged it, because, and rightfully, their claim was that it is discriminatory, it constitutes unfair discrimination, it's a reinforcement of patriarchy, and the court agreed with them. But I think one needs to see it within the context of the husband having been regarded as the head of the household. And so his name, the assumption was he would never want to change his name. Why would he want to change it to his wife's name? So yes, I agree that in certain instances where patriarchy is still very much entrenched within our communities, there's probably going to be pushback. But I think that there are sections of our community where men are wanting to take on their wives' names or a hyphenated name. And I think when the law changes, eventually the hope is that behavior and conduct will also change, that the law and the enforcement of the law eventually trickles down. It's not going to be an overnight process. I think there are certain people that will welcome the decision quite quickly, and in other communities it's going to take a bit longer.
This is hilarious, right? Now imagine the conversation at the Home Affairs office. The guy walks in like, yeah, I'd like to change my last name to my wife's, please. The staff is probably like, sir, are you sure? And he's like, yes, I'm sure. Equality, baby. Can you picture the negotiations happening at the kitchen table now? Hey, honey, you've been rocking your surname for 30 years. It's my turn now. But all jokes aside, this is actually a huge win for gender equality. The court ruled that forcing only women to change their last names was old-fashioned and unfair. So now, the fellas have the option too. Tradition? Yee, we mixing things up in 2024. Now, of course, the boys could be probably wondering, will this mess up our WhatsApp group names? Well, don't worry, gents. You'll survive. Maybe the bachelor's group name becomes the wife's clan. Who knows? But on the real, this is about fairness. We've been in this system where only women had to make this big decision when getting married. But now, both sides can have a say, and that's pretty cool, hey? So there you have it, South Africans. Thanks to the Bloemfontein High Court, marriage just got a little more flexible. You don't like your surname? No problem. Just take hers. Who said equality couldn't be fun? So, tell me in the comments below. If you're married, would you change your surname? If you're single, are you planning to have the surname talk one day? Or maybe you're like, I'm keeping mine no matter what. Either way, let me hear it. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification.